World Haidong. So in this video, we're going to talk about spinning in forms and in combat. If Gumdo is your first martial art, you may not think that spinning is really that weird, like you're kind of introduced to it in your second form, right? Like you're here and you do a jump, spin, cut. It seems like a pretty standard thing to do. But if you're coming into Gumdo from like a different background, so like open hand or Kendo or Iaido or anything like that, spinning is going to sound really, really weird. So why would you not want to spin, right? Because a lot of martial arts don't do spinning, especially if there are weapons involved, right? So if you look at HEMA, again, if you look at Kendo, Iaido, or even a lot of like the Chinese broadsword styles, you don't do that many spin combinations or anything like that. So like, all right, there's probably something perhaps wrong with spinning. So let's take a look at a few reasons why spinning may not necessarily be the best option for you. So first of all, if I'm facing off against someone and I'm here, right, I do a fantastic spin into a diagonal cut, I'm going to be open for a fair amount of time that he can just go in and stab me in the side, stab me in the back. Like, it's not that hard, right? If you see me spinning at you like this, and my blade's up here, you can stab, 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 until I finally cut you. So if you're spinning, again, against an opponent, it's not necessarily going to, win you any favors, right? Because you're not necessarily going to be able to protect yourself as well. Notice though that in our spinning combinations, we usually have the tip actually down a little bit. So for example, when we're doing a jump spin diagonal cut, notice that the tip is actually a little bit down, so there's a little bit of protection. But again, like if someone really wants to take you out as you're spinning, all they need to do is stab and just follow through, even like lunge in with that thrust, and you're going to be both off balance. Your spin's actually going to be causing more damage, from the stab because you're rolling into it. Generally not good. Another thing is there's this myth about spinning making combinations or cuts faster. It doesn't, right? So it doesn't necessarily make it faster or more powerful, at least in the usual conception of it. So for example, if I want to go from this uppercut into a diagonal cut, kind of like what we do in Form 4, which is why we have the Form 4 thing up. So here, down, right? Now, obviously, if I get really good at that spin, I was going to speed up a little bit, right? So I can, without losing your glasses, versus, right? So yes, the spin's not the slowest thing in the world, but if I just want to come in here and come down with a cut, that's faster, I'm more stable, and the cut's going to be more strong because I'm actually going to be able to use my body to bring the sword down into a cut, as opposed to trying to stop the momentum as I cut. So far it sounds like just spinning in a fight or spinning in the form doesn't make sense, right? Because you're not stronger, not faster, you're not more protected. In general, you're just kind of more likely to get stabbed, hurt, killed. Generally not good. So why does Gumdo actually actively have quite a few spins in it? There's an answer that will please no one, and one potential answer is it just looks pretty, right? So it looks cool. Like if I can do a spin cut as opposed to meh, it looks a little more impressive, right? You can also go further, it's like, all right, so it's not actually used in combat. You can say that you're working on your hand-eye coordination or just working on your balance, stuff like that. But both of those reasons kind of fall short of why it's part of a martial art and not just like ballet or anything like that that's just meant to be an exhibition of physical prowess. There's another explanation that has a little bit more merit, but again, it's not as satisfactory as I would like, and that's just like, all right, if I'm spinning, that's going to disorient you, right? So for example, if I'm spinning up this way, maybe you won't necessarily see me coming down for that diagonal. I could maybe spin and stab. I could maybe spin, do the same cut. So it might be a little bit more disorienting if I'm facing off against someone and you're constantly spinning. But again, take a look at what you just saw. If you see me cutting up this way, you already know where my sword is going to come from, right? It's at the very least going to come from on top. So if I'm coming in this way, block. Even if I come with a center cut, block, right? So like if I'm doing a spin toward you and you can see my left hand or my right hand, but mostly my left hand, you know where the cut's going to come from, right? So again, if I see you spinning and I know it's coming up this way, all I'm going to do is either, if I'm I can get out of range, I might back off. Or if I can just stop your cut, and because you're spinning, I can just let you just slide off and finish you with a cut. So it's really not that hard to dispatch someone who constantly spins because it's very easy to anticipate what you're doing. Now, even if you try to do something fancy, like, oh, I'm gonna upcut here, and then last second duck stab, again, better, but again, the risk is not really worth it because the time it takes to tuck, notice that I'm still way open, and I'm gonna get stabbed, cut, generally not in a pleasant mood. And one more explanation, that's again, okay, like it's not necessarily that's something that would necessarily push on students, but another explanation is I'm just gaining distance, right? So if I have an opponent over here and I want to get at him, a spin may not be the worst way to go, right? Because the spin is actually, getting me towards, from A to B. It's having the sword constantly moving, which is obviously better than just keeping it stationary, because then it's really easy to see where I'm coming from as opposed to predictable, right? But just like with the previous couple, there are better ways of gaining distance, right? So if I am kind of in line with the center here, I do spin, cut. Again, the main reason I'm doing that combination is because this is the first real spin combination that you do in the form, right? So if it takes me about that long and it gets me about this distance versus, right? So like it took me a lot less time. I got from A to B a lot more quickly. So gaining distance isn't going to be your major go-to either. So again, like why does Gumdo actively push spinning? So there are a few explanations that I kind of like, right? So some of them are just merely mechanical. So for example, if you take a look at the part in Form 4, right? So if we're here, I hit again, deflect someone off, cut, cut. Again, I'm dispatching that person, right? So I deflected his attack or his defense, I maimed him, and I finished him off, again, cutting into his shoulder or even closer to his neck and driving in. And one thing to keep in mind is, again, we're not using lightsabers, right? They're not going to easily just slide right through the body. I might very well be embedded, many, many ribs deep into the person's chest, right? So if I'm here and there's someone behind me, I'm like, I want to kind of stab him this way, it's not going to work, right? So versus if I'm here and I'm embedded in the person, someone's coming at me, I can use my whole body mass and the spin, not only to dislodge the sword from the body, but it's also going to add a little more power to your cut. So one way you can think of this is almost like a trebuchet, right? So if I am embedded into the person here, as my body's moving this way, it's gaining potential energy here, right? Gaining all that potential energy, and when it finally pops out, all of that's going into the cut, right? So if I'm here and I embed it, so again, not only is it translation, right? So that my body's translating this way, and that's going to actively pull the sword out, but also there's going to be that angular velocity, right? So if I'm here, I'm twisting, I can able to pop it out, and what I can do with this part of the spin is actually, again, keep the momentum going, right? So if I cut in, I can actually use that to spend the extra energy, right? So spins spend energy. They don't create speed, they don't create power, they spend energy. And if you have too much, right? So again, if you have that trebuchet cut here, if I just keep going, I'm gonna be off balance, right? Versus I can actually use the spin, now again, not only to dislodge the sword, not only to power up the cut, but also to kill the extra power so that I can actually use the sword again more, nuancedly, right? So you might ask, like, all right, so if this is true, why don't other sword martial arts spin, right? So because allegedly, if you're in a sword martial art, again, Kendo, Iaido, Chinese broadsword, Hema, I'm gonna embed my sword in the person, right? I need to get it out. So why don't other martial arts do spins? Well, that's going to be part of another generalist idea of, well, most sword martial arts are usually one-on-one, Gumdo is one-on-many, right? So the fact that I'm embedded in someone If I'm just fighting that one dude, I don't care, right? Like if I'm betting that person, I know he's dying, I can kind of just like slide it out of the body, and I'm just kind of fine. I can just kind of like step back, watch him, pass away. As opposed to if I'm in the middle of combat, right? I know someone's over here. I can't just be like, all right, you're dying. I'm just gonna, right? I need to get in and be able to cut really quickly. So this is another reason that Gumdo has some weirder ideas, is because it's one-on-many as opposed to just one-on-one. So this brings in another idea. So again, keeping in mind as one-on-many people, this is another reason that you can do a spin, right? So if I'm here and I just cut, I can actually, as I'm spinning, check my surroundings, right? If I'm here, you're dead, right? So I don't have to worry about you. Then go on and try to finish your opponent. And yet another reason, and this will be the last one that I work with, is if you spin, it also helps you kind of get, again, distance. Again, for many different people. So it doesn't make sense between two or from 1 to 2, but if it's multiple people trying to push everyone back, it's actually easier to be here, spin this way, spun, right? So if you think about something like in Form 10, right, where you do clear, push back, check, all those spins and all that distance gaining is pushing everyone back. So again, you might ask, like, all right, so you just said that if I do a spin, it's faster just to do like a double step. Why should I do a spin if there's more than 2 people? Well, the idea is if I know it's very linear, he's right there, I can just step, right? But if I'm here and there's someone like here or a really weird angle, I could turn step. That's going to kill, again, a lot of energy that you need, versus I'm here and someone's like, say here, I can do just a spin, cut. Granted, I could just do something like that, but spins are actually going to be easier to keep multiple people at bay, as opposed to just, again, dueling or even facing off against 2 people. At least if the 2 people are like one here, one directly behind me. So as usual, a drill to practice your spins. So the one that I kind of like the most, at least for in terms of drilling, is the fact of that catapult cut, right? So if I'm here and then embedded and have to use that momentum to bring it out and cut, right? And feeling how you can lose that momentum. In fact, you want to lose that momentum. One thing you can do, if you have a willing partner, is if you cut, they're actually going to hold the sword back, again, as if you just embed it into their chest, and that's actually keeping it in, right? So I want you to have your partner hold, you're going to push, right? So you're going to push in, see how much power you can actually generate from popping it out of the body and into a cut, right? And notice, again, how you can kill the momentum. So what you can do, again, is from here, do the spin. Another thing you can do is from here, just push it out and cut. And try the 2 of them, right? See which one do you feel like actually has more control for your second diagonal cut, or your first diagonal cut, or your diagonal cut. So as always, keep training. Haidong.